Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 180th episode. That's right, 180 episodes, no repeats. It's always a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly makes it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, X-E-N, not a Z. And also remember that all episodes of A Moment of Zen stream 24/7 on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide. It's free programming to you. And you can always find us, of course, on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. Today in the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, Drink the Legend. Today we have two powerhouse guests, Ryan Enk, the CEO of Servio Capital and the charismatic host of Cabin Wars. Ryan has flipped over 1,000 properties, so many he probably dreams in blueprints. And we also have Jared Emerick, his good friend of Cabin Wars. He's a contestant and a man who's not just flipping houses, but flipping the script on how blue-collar businesses market themselves. We're going to be chatting cabins, renovations, budgets, and how they balance it all. Up next in the featured business section, today we have a truly inspiring guest. His name is Junior Lantigua. He's the founder and CEO of the Wahi Group, and he's the visionary behind Wahizza, the famous pizzeria franchise, home of the chimichurri pizza. We're going to be diving into the heart of his story, uncovering how he turned his dreams into reality and the lessons he's learned along the way. Up next in the Discover Your Potential segment brought to you by Keep the Past, we're joined by our regular contributor, Anna Devere. She's joined today by Ylanda Wilhite. She's a wealth management expert turned children's author. That's right. She's a children's author now. How incredible is this story? They're going to join me today to chat all about the importance of financial literacy, early education, and how her book is at the core of it all. In the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring the Renaissance man himself and the Doctor of Happiness, Jeffrey Gurian. He's a doctor, a lecturer, and motivational speaker. He's a comedy writer and a performer. And he's also a radio personality, not always in that order. He joins me today to chat about his upcoming event, Healing Your Heart with Humor, which is taking place at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies in Rhinebeck, New York, September 20th through the 22nd. Stay tuned for the small business feature of the month right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. Up next, Junior Lantigua of Wahizza. You don't want to miss this inspiring interview. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is sponsored by FinTech TV.
FinTech TV, the newest streaming channel focused exclusively on the business of blockchain, digital assets, and sustainability. Broadcasting from our studio on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with daily reports from NASDAQ, global expansion, and 24/7 coverage. Become part of the launch. Head to fintech.tv/invest. Fintech.tv/invest.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming up next in the small business feature of the month right here on 710 WOR, we're shining a spotlight on the entrepreneurs who are shaping our communities and redefining success. Today we have a truly inspiring guest, Junior Lantigua. He's the founder and CEO behind the Wahi Group, and he's the visionary behind Wahizza Pizza. Now, from the vibrant streets of Washington Heights to the forefront of New York City's culinary scene, Junior's journey is one of passion, perseverance, and a deep love for his heritage. We're going to be diving into the heart of his story, uncovering how he turned his dreams into reality and the lessons he's learned along the way. Junior, it's a pleasure to have you right here at headquarters. Welcome, superstar.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's chat your early days. So your story starts in Washington Heights, a place very well known for its rich culture and very tight-knit community, more importantly. And many of us can relate to that feeling of having
big dreams in a small neighborhood, if you will. What was it like growing up there, and how did your surroundings shape your passion for food and entrepreneurship?
Well, my family came here in 1964. I came here in I was born in Dominican Republic. I came here in 1977. It was very tough, but at the same time, it was amazing because the culture, you were surrounded by African Americans, Puerto Ricans, and a whole bunch of other Latinos, which aligned us to be where we are today. But growing up in Spanish Harlem or Harlem, and then going into Washington Heights, it was an amazing journey for us. And understanding how difficult things were at that time to be where we are today, it's just amazing.
Now, they say the secret ingredient in any great dish is love. But in your case, it sounds like Washington Heights added a whole lot of spice to the mix, too. And it's amazing how our roots, of course, can shape our future, right? In fact, I don't know if you knew this, but over 65% of small business owners say their community influenced their business ideas. So it's all about that local flavor. Now, let's chat about overcoming challenges. I think that's a very relatable topic because most Americans, most small business owners have had to overcome many challenges, and they faced obstacles, especially in the competitive world of hospitality. So what were some of the biggest challenges you encountered when you first started out, and how did you overcome them?
My dad passed away when I was very young. I was 17 years old, so I inherited his business and so many other stuff that he owned, like properties and stuff like that. So I had no one to hold my hand. So the challenge was pretty. The experience was amazing. Let me just put it that way, where I had to educate myself and learn from all the experience at that time. I want to always do something different, but within, I want to be able to mix around our culture and everything that we do. Throw a little flair of the Dominican culture in it. And at the beginning, it was a little challenging because we were always trying to enhance our food, our culture, educating our people on how to eat, how to experience the hospitality industry. So, but at the same time, it was amazing because the support that people 3 to 4, 5, 6 months into our journey into the restaurant industry, they started to supporting us and understand that, wow, you know what, it's beneficial for us, or it's great for us to intertwine and come support these businesses, and that's what we've always tried to do. Figure a way how to make these people come in, or make our people come in and support us.
And support you, yes. And of course,
Right.
running a restaurant is like literally trying to juggle pizza dough, right? It's all fun and games until something crashes. But seriously, we all know that the path to success isn't without its bumps. Many statistics show that nearly 25% of new businesses fail within their first year. And yet here you are with multiple thriving establishments under your belt. Now, I want to know what your secret sauce is, but more importantly, I think your secret sauce comes with more of a complicated answer in this one single interview. But what is your secret sauce, if you could sum it up?
I always tell people, whatever you do, you gotta love what you're doing, you know. And but most importantly, there's a saying that my dad used to always say: never forget where you come from, because you never know where you're at or where you're going. So understanding your roots is very important, and loving what you do and applying the passion to it. I think
Passion.
that's is the key to the success.
Yeah.
And persistent. You always have to be persistent in what you do. Never giving up. There's gonna be a lot of challenges, and believe you me, I've had a lot of challenge in the course. 30 years in the making, it's a long time, you know. So, but again, it's just putting the love and the passion and being open to your team, to suggestions, and allowing them to allow you to grow as well. So, I'm very open to any suggestions that the team brings to the table, but at the same time, understanding the long game behind it.
The roadmap, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
So let's talk about the birth of Wahizza. It's more than
Thank
just
you.
a pizza place. It's a
Correct.
brand,
It
right?
is.
It's a brand that really reflects your journey, your heritage, and your vision. Can you tell us how the idea for Wahizza Pizza came about, and what makes it unique in the very crowded culinary landscape of New York, and what inspired the name?
Well, believe it or not, I mean, Wahizza started as a speakeasy concept to a club I had in the Heights, which was called Arca Lounge, and it was renamed to Arca Room. Once we converted the space into speakeasy concept of the Wahizza experience, I love Italian food. I grew up in Harlem, and the only food that you probably had that was affordable was Chinese food and Italian food, or pizza. Let's just put it that way. And my wife at the time was pregnant of our second child, and she craved for a sandwich called chimichurri sandwich, which Dominican as a Dominican sandwich. And when I said, "Listen, I'm going to rebuild the business, and I want to do a pizzeria," she says, "Well, can you convert this sandwich into a pizza?" And that was a challenge. It took us about 28 to 30 days to create the recipe. We did it. And then after that, it just became a phenomenon after that. And so the name Wahizza comes as well from Washington Heights. Wahi means Washington Heights. And then we added the ZZA for pizza. So like Brooklyn has Brooklyn pizza. We decided to say, you know what, let's put a stamp here. And let's just put Wahizza Pizza, which is Washington Heights pizza.
I love it. This is so cool. This is such a great story. There was a baby's birth involved. The chimichurri sandwich cravings came with your daughter's birth.
My son.
Your son. Okay,
Yes.
there we go. Kid knows
Ethan.
what he wants.
Correct.
Now they say you can't make everyone happy if you're not pizza. So, but in your
That's
case,
true.
Wahizza seems to be doing just that, and it's fascinating to think that in a city where there are more than 35,000 plus pizzerias, you've managed to stand out. So what's the secret ingredient that keeps people coming back for more?
Again, is just consistency and quality. We don't compromise quality over quantity. And we make sure that we have nothing but the best ingredients. Everything is fresh in our pizza. We focus on that, and we're driven about quality versus quantity.
Great. Let's drive that into the ground.
For sure.
I love the quality. Now, empowering entrepreneurs. Let's focus on that. So beyond serving great food, to my understanding, you've also created opportunities for other entrepreneurs through the Wahizza franchise. Now, what motivated you to go beyond running your own businesses and start empowering others to follow in your footsteps?
Well, in the process, I had, in my 30-year run, I had a lot of partnership, and I lost a lot of friends in the process. And it's because about money and operation. So came to a point in my life where I don't want to lose no more friends when it comes down to business. So a lot of people believe in my concept, believe in what I'm doing, and how I run my business, how I run my business. So, when people came about, what we said, instead of creating a partnership, let's just create a franchise model where you own your store, it's your store, and we carry the brand and we give you the support. We hold your hands across the board throughout the course of the business. That's how everything started. And here we are 6 stores down the line.
That's incredible. So your original store was in Washington Heights,
Correct.
and now you have the additional 5 stores in the New Jersey area.
Correct.
Now, it's amazing to me because it's one thing to feed people and it's another to feed their dreams, right? And you're doing both. So it's no wonder that when you look at research, it shows that franchise businesses are 20% more likely to succeed than independently owned businesses. And you said it, it's about that support that you're giving your franchisees. Now, what inspired you to take this route and help others carve out their own slice of
I love
success, if you will, no pun intended?
I love my dad, we should always say, is that, the only way we're going to grow is by helping others. And the knowledge that we acquire as we go, if we don't pass it forward, we're not doing anything in this beautiful earth, right? So one of the things that I'm doing in the process is educating people, helping people understand the nature of the business. The 30 years of experience that I have, I want to share it with other people. So at the same time, the level of support that the franchisees are getting from us is 30 years of experience, understanding cost of goods, understanding concept, understanding branding, and understanding, quality, and most importantly, the service and the customer service that we provide to our customers, the experience, let's just put it like that. So the Wahizza experience. So if you're able to capture that and able to teach your franchisees that, I think you're going to be successful. We can never forget that, this is what that's what makes us different. Let's just put it that way, that we concentrate on all these components, but most importantly, customer service for us is key element on all this stuff.
You're a good man, Junior. You're a good man.
I try as hard as I can.
Now let's chat balancing family and business, of course. You've spoken about the importance of family and faith in your life. How do you balance the demands of running a business empire with maintaining strong family ties and staying grounded in your faith?
So in my journey of 30 years, I've understand that at the beginning of my journey, I didn't understand the balance behind it. As I progress in my journey or my experience in my industry, I learned to understand to create that balance between business and your family. If you don't have the family values and the cores of family, your business is not going to be successful. If you're not successful at home, meaning with your wife or your kids, that lingers down to your business. So if you're happy at home, your business is going to be happy. So it's a domino effect in a positive way that could prolong your lifespan in your business. I always tell people, and all my staff when they come in, you leave your problems at the door. Once you come into this door, now it's happiness, and it just make this work. So one of the things that I've learned is that, you know what, I'll take 2 weeks out of the month for my kids and my wife, and then 2 weeks out of the month just for my wife and I. So we take out a date, a day in the week that we go out at least twice a month. So to create that balance between work and family at the same time.
So important. And you are 100% right. We make it so much about our careers and about the kids and the family that we forget about our partner. And I love that you pointed out that you are prioritizing your partnership with your wife, because that's the tie that binds, and really that's what keeps it all together. And balancing work and family is like trying to keep a pizza crust crispy while piling on all the toppings, right?
100%.
It's tricky, but so important. And
Yeah, for sure.
if you look at the surveys, again, back to edutainment, that's what we trend, right? 60% of entrepreneurs say they struggle with work-life balance. So you manage to keep everything in harmony, and I love that about you. Now let's chat legacy and inspiration. We're moving on here. So legacy is a word that comes up often in your story. What kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind, not just for your family, but for the community that you've touched and the entrepreneurs that you're currently inspiring?
It's creating that let's say that it's not even about a brand. It's the brand is on the commercial side, but it's being an inspiration to others. Starting in Washington Heights many years ago, I was the first to open up an upscale restaurant, the first to open up a lounge, the first to open up a cigar shop. So being the pioneer in Washington Heights, it takes a lot of pride. But at the end of the day, it's not even about the business. It's about changing the concept and the mindset of people. How do we do that? So for me, that's legacy, creating that, and then passing it on to your kids. So making sure that they keep on with that legacy, and everybody that works with you, embedding them. Hey, listen, you know what? This is how you do business. This is how we grow. Allowing them to grow as well as they go, because every employee that comes to your business, they also want to grow too. So allowing them to grow, and I think that's how you build legacy, giving room to others to grow, and you grow as well. Just looking at the people that you've employed, opening up their own businesses. For me, that's amazing. That's I don't even have words to describe
You're
that.
doing great work. And they say we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give, right? And it sounds like you're giving a lot more than just great food. And most people believe that businesses do have a responsibility to give back to their communities. I do. And your idea of legacy influencing all of these decisions is clearly at the core of it all. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend. Now, from running restaurants to launching franchises, you've shown a knack for innovation. You constantly are staying ahead of trends and continue to innovate in an industry that's always evolving. And innovation in the culinary world is like creating a new recipe. You have to keep mixing things up to stay fresh, right? The food industry has a huge, a huge upside, but you got to also serve the right stuff. Otherwise, they won't keep coming back for more. Let's chat about the symbolism behind your pricing. I know that you end all of your pricing in 88. Can you talk to me about the inspiration behind that?
You know what? The number 8's been following me for forever, and it's a symbol of infinity and abundance, and I take that seriously. I think that when you price something, or when you put a number, or when you put a stamp to it, it has to have a meaning. So it takes a long time for us to create a name, to create a brand. It's not like it just comes out of nowhere. Let's just put this on because it sounds nice, it sounds sexy, or whatever the case may be. There has to be a meaning to everything that we do. From the first business, Rancho Jubilee means ranch, and Jubilee means joy and happiness in the Bible. Ark Lounge means Noah's Ark. You're an anchor. You're there. You're staple there. Fumé, which means smoke in French, That was when we had the cigar shop. Hispaniola, the name in the island of two countries, Dominican Republic and Haiti. So there's an abundance of history behind everything that we do. Wahizza, Washington Heights Pizza. So you have to create these staples so people could understand that, we're just not just throwing things there. We take our time, we understand. And most importantly is being grateful to God and the universe. If you're not grateful to God and the universe, you have nothing. So the number 8 means all of that for me,
Very symbolic. You are one deep person with a very old soul. I love this about you.
Thank you.
You are clearly thriving and on your next chapter and have lived many lives because you are very, very perceptive and empathetic towards others, which I think is incredible skills for anybody
Amen.
to have, especially in your position. Now, you have also trademarked the chimichurri name. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
So we started this in 2014 and understanding that a lot of people were going to copy our concept because it's different, especially in the Dominican community. We're known for the chimi sandwich, but never for a chimi pizza. So understanding that, we started the process in 2015, and it took us 9.5 years to actually get it. We had to work around so many things that were legal, and we finally got it. And a lot of people was starting to copy our concept, and I just took quiet for a while, and I've been quiet for a little bit until we need one more number. Once we get that, and it's game on. But what I mean by that is that you have to protect what you're doing and your innovation. And one of the things that you do is by understanding, listening to your lawyers, listening to your accountant, and how to do certain things. Like you pay people for the services, and you have to listen to them.
Exactly. So, and you need to know enough to know that you don't know everything.
For sure.
And let the experts handle that. Well, amazing. We are at the end of our interview. Thank you so much for being so inspirational, so transparent. You are doing incredible things. You are social media famous. You have your own trademark. You have your own franchise. You have an incredible community that loves you and looks up to you. I think you are off to the matches, my friend. You are doing incredible stuff, and the world is your oyster.
Amen. Thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me over, and I'm humbled to be here. Thank you so much.
For those tuning in, if you haven't experienced Wahizza yet, do yourself a favor and grab a slice of inspiration. Until next time, this has been the featured Small Business of the Month on WOR, and we are celebrating the heart and hustle behind Wahizza's success. Definitely check them out at wahizza.com, or you can check them out on the gram at Wahizza. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Do you have the dream of starting and owning your own business, or know of someone who does? If so, check out Your Home Business program, where they inspire, equip, and encourage those who dream of owning and operating their own business. Check out Your Home Business on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut in collaboration with Charlie Rocket's Dream Machine Foundation. Today we have two incredible guests who are no strangers to the high stakes of competition and the drama that comes with it. First, we have Ryan Enk, who's the dynamic CEO of Servio Capital and the charismatic host of Cabin Wars. Ryan has flipped over 1,000 properties, and with his sharp eye and quick wit, he's the perfect guide through the intense world of cabin renovations. Joining him is Jared Emerick. He's a seasoned real estate investor, master marketer, and entrepreneur. Jared recently launched Acquire Marketing, which is a game changer for blue-collar businesses. Both of these men know what it takes to thrive under pressure, and today they're here to give us an inside look at the drama, the challenges, and triumphs behind Cabin Wars. Welcome, Ryan and Jared. Welcome, superstars.
Thank you so
thanks,
much. Yeah, thanks for having us.
So excited to have you on. Now, with over 1,000 flips under your belt, Ryan, you've probably seen it all, hidden treasures, maybe even a ghost or two. But the reality of flipping houses is that the unexpected is well expected. And moreover, over 60% of home renovators encounter surprises that are constantly throwing a wrench into their plans. What's the craziest thing you've encountered during a cabin renovation?
Well, so the show is 3 contestants that are renovating a cabin each, and they each have $20,000 budget and only 30 days to do it. And yeah, I've encountered a lot of surprises during cabin renovation or any renovation of any property. I think that the most shocking thing that happened on this reality show was we found a baby bottle in the ceiling of all places. So I'm not sure how it got there, but that was, there's always something to surprise you on a flip.
Jesus, baby bottle. Okay,
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Let the imagination run wild on that one.
And it did.
Now, switching gears a bit, let's talk about the world of marketing, especially for blue-collar businesses. So, Jared, with so many small businesses struggling to stand out, the right marketing strategy can be a game changer. 70% of small businesses do face significant marketing challenges. Now, when we speak of surprises, your expertise is helping these blue-collar businesses stand out, and it's all about finding that unique story. And to my understanding, the contestants only have a $20,000 budget, as Ryan just said. So how was that a challenge when you're trying to win with the best flips?
Yeah, it was incredibly challenging. We talk about what was harder, the time or the money. And, the money was very challenging. We had to get super creative, whether that was asking for free materials from places in exchange for maybe a shout out or a t-shirt we wore on the show, or whether it was dumpster diving. And I, in particular, ran into a budget issue very early on in which I had to pivot our plans very quickly. So yeah, the $20,000, it only added up to about, I think it was like $30-ish a square foot, which anybody in the home improvement world knows that is not a lot of money to have to do really anything. So we had to get really creative and make it look really nice as well.
Wow, I can't wait to see these results. Now, Ryan, one of the things that make Cabin Wars so exciting is the diverse mix of contestants. So different backgrounds, different skills, and sometimes wildly different personalities. And when we look at research with respect to reality TV, 80% of viewers are drawn in by the dynamics between contestants. So with that in mind, how do these different personalities and experiences fuel the drama and excitement we see on the show? And what were the competition dynamics like on the lake season with Jared?
Yeah, it was exciting to see the different skill sets that people had. And when we were in casting, we kind of cast contestants based on those skill sets. So we typically had an underdog. You had somebody that had a lot of flips under their belt, and maybe somebody that was kind of a novice. In Jared's season, it was interesting because you had this group that was the House of Sharb. It was 3 moms, and they all had a really good design skill set, and one had really good flipping experience. And then you had ENG. That was the cabin next to Jared's, and they were custom home builders. So they were used to building high-end stuff, and to see them working within a budget was really cool. And then you had Jared. All those other contestants were more local. And Jared was coming in from Ohio, so even though he had a lot of flipping experience, he was kind of the underdog in that season because you have to come to a brand new place with no resources. You don't know, like typically, when you're flipping houses, like you got your carpenter that you can call, your plumber, your electrician. And it was really neat to see how resourceful that he got in that season, just trying to figure out his network and figure out where to source materials. And so that was a really cool dynamic in their season.
That's so interesting. And I'm assuming there's a roadmap for these cabins that are being renovated. After you've built this incredible and renovated it, what happens to the cabin next?
Oh, so the cabins are in this RV resort. So my company, Servio Capital, we bought this RV resort, and the cabins were these old, ugly, beat up, cabins from the 70s. They looked like they were all painted like this big bird yellow. It was disgusting.
Oof.
And they hadn't been renovated since the 70s. They definitely needed some TLC. And so after the cabins were renovated, we opened them up for people to stay in the park.
Bingo, roadmap.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the roadmap. That's what I was getting to. So you guys have a very well thought out plan in multiple respects. Now, Jared, in a way, your work with the blue collar businesses involves a similar mix of personalities and challenges. What were some of the most dramatic competitive moments?
This is such a wonderful question. Off camera, there was certainly drama within all the contestants. This wasn't exclusive to me where, in a sense where I was the out of towner, it was exclusive where my business at home in Ohio was still running, but then I had to, put all my focus into being in Louisiana at the campground, focusing there. But the other two contestants, they had some disadvantages as well where their kids were still in school. They had sports going on. We kind of took our kids and just unplugged. And we're just totally focused on the cabin in the show, where the other contestants had to maintain their lives while working to get the cabin done. So that was an enormous challenge.
Yeah, if I could add to that, Jared, there was also there's some shenanigans that went on during the competition, people pranking each other. I think somebody put some old furniture on somebody else's roof and time is money. And then some people, I guess the House of Sharp, they found there was someone had taken a dump in the middle of their kitchen. And they don't know if it was dog or human or who did it. And there were some accusations being thrown around. So those added to the...
things got smelly.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a dad pun.
Yeah, we missed that opportunity, Ryan.
Yeah, I missed that opportunity for the
filming.
The dad joke.
Now, Ryan, on the intense... We'll shift back to you and the intense pressure of the 30-day renovation challenge. So I want to talk about that. And more importantly, for those listening, did you know that about 9 out of 10 renovators feel overwhelmed by deadlines? So deadlines and time constraints are extremely important. And I can only imagine the stress when the clock is ticking and something goes wrong. So can you share one of the most nerve-wracking moments you've witnessed when everything seemed to be falling apart?
Yeah. So, it wasn't like what you might see on other reality show flipping where, they say they're going to get it done in a certain amount of time. Maybe they say 30 days, but it's really 90 TV days or 120 or take a half a year, whatever it is. That 30 days was real. We had sent out this massive campaign for the people who used to go to the park. There's about 90,000 past customers that we had emails and social media and everything. And we invited them to this open house on day 30. So every one of the contestants knew that in day 30, if they weren't done, not only would it be embarrassing, but, there was reputations at stake. And obviously they wanted to win. There was money at stake for the winner. And so the 30 days really was a big stress for a lot of the contestants. In 2 of the seasons, there was contestants that were putting on roofs the day of the open house. There's contestants that were up till 4 a.m. the night before putting finishing touches on. So the clock winding down got pretty intense towards the end. And the stress you see on camera is real stress.
I can only imagine. Wow. Can't wait to see it. You're building up such suspense for me.
Yeah.
This goes beyond renovating cabins. Now, let's chat motivation. So was the prize money always the motivation for the contestants, or did things evolve and did the priority shift?
You know what I noticed is we had 5 seasons altogether. Each had 3 competitors, and I noticed in all the seasons, in about week 3, everybody is so tired. Everybody is so emotional, and money's running out, time's running out, that money stops being the factor of motivation for a lot of them. So a lot of the contestants had to dig down deep and find a deeper motivation and a deeper why as to why they wanted to win and why they wanted to carry on with that. Give you an example, in one of the seasons was a loft season, and there was this disgusting cabin. I was as the host, I was wondering who I was going to screw with this cabin because it was so ugly. It just looked very, very bad. And I ended up picking this guy, Nathan, and Nathan, when he went and saw the cabin, of course, he's like, man, this is, you really screwed me. And so when they were going around the outside of the cabin, they saw this little, someone had etched in the dirt on the window, Jake was here. He has a son named Jacob that has an inflammatory disease. It was a very hard time in their life trying to figure out what this disease was. And he's got a video from 4 years ago where they go to this cabin in the woods, and he says, and Jacob loved this loft. And he said, Jacob, you like this cabin and this loft in this cabin? And Jacob's like, I love it. And he said, one of these days I'm going to build your own cabin in the woods. And this is the only cabin in all of Cabin Wars that was in the woods that had a loft, and it had etched in the window, Jake was here. So different contestants finding that motivation, and for the rest of the time when he was renovating this cabin, he kept in mind his family and his son, and he ended up naming it after his son and called it Jacob's Journey.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story. I love it when emotion is evoked in such an organic way, and reality TV is exactly that. There's organic moments that you can only capture in reality TV, so it makes it so much better when families are sharing these moments to say, look, at the heart of it all was, delivering a wish, right? Now, Jared, many of your clients operate on tight budgets, making it essential to get the most out of every marketing dollar. And interestingly, businesses that spend less than even 5% of their budget on marketing can still see significant growth if they invest wisely. Now, with many of your clients who operate on these tight budgets, much like the contestants on Cabin Wars, what strategies do you suggest for making a big impact without breaking the bank?
I mean, with the power of social media now, telling your own personal story, you don't have to spend any money. And the reason why we started Acquire Marketing is to teach people how to become the powerhouse in their niche, in their area, by sharing their story. Why do they do what they do? And that goes back to the show where we had to gather votes to win, utilizing social media and all the outlets that we had. So it was. You'll see it in the show how we knew what we had to do, and we called on our hometowns. As I called on my hometown, and the other contestants called on their circles of influence. And we had one contestant who he was from South Dakota, and he went to his mayor in South Dakota and got him to promote it, and that was cool. And I got in the paper in Akron, Ohio, and in Canton, and a lot of different people were using different methods, but none of that cost hardly any money, if it costs anything at all. And blue collar businesses can do that same thing and become the influential person in their industry and naturally build their authority and their brand doing that.
If I could just kind of coattail off of that, I think Robert Kiyosaki said that most people are one skill away from, amazing success, whether a plumber or a carpenter or a house flipper. And that was a real strong suit with Jared, is that not only was he a good house flipper, but he was a good marketer, and that ended up helping him with votes at the end.
It's extremely important. Now, Ryan, playing into what you're saying, viewers play a crucial role in Cabin Wars by voting for the winner. How does this audience participation add to all this tension and excitement of the competition?
Well, I think it was intense for the contestants. They had to, like, a lot of them didn't come with a social media presence. One of the contestants, for example, he was mentioning Mike Ray in South Dakota. He had almost no social media presence. And towards the end, contestants were doing everything to get votes. They had all worked tirelessly for 30 days, a lot of them lacking sleep. And after that 30 days was over, they had 7 days for people to go to the website to get votes for their cabin flip. And there was people that voted on site as well during the open house. And so there was people walking around. It was during Mardi Gras, so there's people walking around with QR codes just for people in the street to take pictures of it and to vote for them. A lot of these people with these last ditch marketing efforts, I mean, some of these season winners were decided by less than 30 votes.
Wow.
And so out of over 26,000 votes that were cast. So it was it did play a big part in the intensity of the show towards the end.
That's so exciting. This is you're making me want to tune in right now. Jared, this is the last question. You're not just a business mogul, you are a family man. You balance work and family, and that's a challenge, of course. 75% of entrepreneurs, in fact, struggle with that particular challenge. So how do you do it? And more importantly, balancing the successful business with family is something that it's like one wrong move and then it all crumbles.
Yeah.
So what's the secret sauce?
Well, being on the crumbling quite a bit of times, I'm learning from experience here where I heard a mentor told me one time, balance of work and life in the entrepreneurial world is a lie. That your expectations have to be set with your spouse and with your family. And that's where I have seen the most success is, like during the show, I was gone from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 11. But I had Sunday mornings, and my kids who are used to seeing me at home often or working from the office or just working from the laptop, I saw them on Saturday nights and they would say, "Oh, tomorrow's Sunday morning, we get daddy." And, that was a real eye opener. Of course, my wife, Ashley, knew the expectations at that time, and she really stepped up to the plate. And it was just awesome to see her step into to a lot of roles, playing mom and dad there.
Big shout out to Ashley.
That's right.
And Cal.
And so the work-life balance tends to be a lie, but set expectations and communicate, and that will solve 99% of your issues.
Amazing. Well, we are at the end of our online date. Can you tell us how we could tune into Cabin Wars?
Yeah, so it's going to be on Amazon Prime. It's going to be on YouTube, and we also have it airing on a Discovery affiliate called Destination America. That's going to be on October the 2nd, Wednesday at prime time. I think we're still figuring out the exact. It's either 8 o'clock or 8:30 Eastern time, prime time. It's going to be exciting.
All right. Tune in October 2nd, guys. Thank you both so much, Ryan and Jared, for sharing your insights and your stories with us today. It's clear that whether you're flipping cabins or helping businesses rise above the competition, the challenges and drama are all part of the journey. And for our viewers and listeners, don't forget to tune in to Cabin Wars to see the action unfold, and keep an eye on Jared's work with Acquire Marketing, and as he helps all these blue-collar businesses tell their unique stories. Until next time, stay hydrated and keep the heart in your hustle. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. That was the Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut in collaboration with the Dream Machine Foundation. Head to cabinwarstv.com or check them out all over the gram at Cabin Wars TV and at Ryan Enk and at Jared.Emerick. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, and do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by Keep the Past. Today we're joined by our regular contributor and co-host, Anna Devere, and she is joined by Ylanda Wilhite. She's a wealth management expert turned children's author. Ylanda served as part of the client strategy team with BMO Harris, where she provided customized investment management and advisory solutions for high net worth individuals, families, and organizations. She joined the organization in 1983, had over 40 years of experience in the financial services industry, and during her career as an investment professional, she managed an average of $850 million in investable assets. Woohoo! You go, girl. Since retiring in April of 2023, Ylanda is now pursuing her passion for financial literacy and has even written a children's book called My Savings Jar, which introduces young children to saving money and other basic financial concepts. They're going to join me today to chat all about the importance of financial literacy, early education, and how her book is at the core of it all. Welcoming now to the show are Ylanda and Anna. Welcome, superstars.
I love that shout out when you said 850 million, whatever that was. I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about the money. Love it.
Yeah, I want
to sometimes when I think about it.
She's a trailblazer. So let's dive right in, Ylanda. So money is often viewed as a touchy subject. In fact, according to research from financial planning leader Empower, 62% of people don't talk about money. And to go even further, 52% of Americans surveyed reported that they never talked about finances growing up, which is shocking to me. And 1 in 4 learned that it's not polite to talk about money. However, with this stigma around money talk, we're creating more pressing issues as kids grow up and lack major financial literacy skills, which is where you come in. Now, it's to my understanding that your book, My Savings Jar, counters this and introduces children to the basic concepts of setting goals, saving, and budgeting, which I love. It's right up my mom alley. I'd love to know more. What inspired you to write My Savings Jar, and what message do you hope to convey to children through this book?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. You brought up some great statistics. When I think about, like, even in my household growing up, it wasn't a discussion. And it wasn't that it was intentionally ignored. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of time parents are busy with their own lives, or depending on their financial situation, they may not have the knowledge to know to pass it down. So even though those numbers are staggering, they're true. They're very true. So after I retired, let me back up. I've met with people outside of my work that I've talked to, counseled, that were in financial trouble, that they thought they were in financial trouble. And I felt like financial illiteracy is such a huge issue in our country. How do we tackle that? And it's like, well, what if we start young? If we can start with the kids as early as possible, teaching them just the very basic of saving. And that's really all it is, no matter how old you are, no matter how much money you have. If we could start so early teaching that, instilling that, then going forward in the future, we can reduce the number of people. And I hate to say illiteracy, but we can increase the knowledge, financial knowledge of individuals.
I love it. I love everything you're saying. It fits exactly into my narrative. Now, this book is great. It's great. It's a great resource and such an engaging way to begin talking about money with your kids and teach them the true value of financial planning. And with only 57% of the adults in the U.S. being considered financially literate, it's so important to start this kind of education young and create the safe space for discussing money. So I think what you're doing is amazing. Now, Anna, I know you have some questions, so I'll hand it off to you.
Well, I still want to come from this 50,000 foot view and ask you, how do you think your experience as a vice president and senior director of investments, how did that influence the themes and the lessons in my savings jar?
Well, over that time, just, most of the work that we did is started through financial planning for everybody, every person, whether you call it that or not. You have goals, and how do you meet those goals? And financial planning helps lay out the blueprint to do that. How much do you have saved now? How much do you need to achieve those goals? How do you plan to save to get there? So with mostly every client that we had, it started with financial planning. And then my role was to come in and say, okay, well, if you need 7% return to reach this long-term goal, then I come in and build a portfolio, depending on what's happening in the market and the economy, and make sure we can get that 7% over time. So just that whole process and thinking about money in that way for so many years led me to, after I retired, again, it's so basic, even though everybody think it's very challenging and everybody have their reasons. It really all starts with savings.
So simple, right? It's the answer's right under our nose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can only assume being a children's book author is a very different role than yours in the past.
Yes.
Can you share a bit about the process of transitioning from a career in investments to becoming a children's book author? And more importantly, I want to hear about these challenges that you faced, because I'm sure it was no easy feat.
Yeah. So managing money, and maybe it just comes second nature to me, building out portfolios, determining asset allocations. And really, I always felt like I tried to educate my clients, no matter what was happening in the market. Why is that impacting you? Just like we had a pullback a couple of weeks ago in the market. I was like then thinking like, okay, what would I be saying? Because I know my clients will be calling. So explaining how things that you don't have control of impact you, and educating that standpoint. Writing the children's book, actually writing the book, the story, for me, it was simple because I know what I wanted to say. The challenge was I don't have children. And how do I say it in a way that, and use different tones that kids can react positively to? And it's like, like when I'll say something and somebody like, no, a kid wouldn't say it that way. Okay. So just trying to capture the right tone that would keep it interesting, not only for parents, but for kids. That was probably the biggest challenge. And then learning the behind the scene, how to get the word out. I really believe, not to toot my own horn, I have a good book. It's a good book, and I think it's something that's needed. So how do you get that out? How do you understanding the business side of it? So those were the challenges, but mainly just making sure that it was something engaging and that kids would find interesting.
And I know now you're going into schools and having more one-on-one and getting even more great feedback. I'm just kind of wondering, what age group is the book targeted at?
Yeah, I think I say like 6 to 10. In the schools, I'm focusing more on like 3rd to 4th grade. I think 6-year-olds are great. I think that's a good start. I think that's where parents have to do more reading and reiterating for the kids. When you get to that 8 to 10, they can read it on their own. They can kind of incorporate things from the book on their own. So anyway, I would say from 6 to 10. Now, depending on the kid, the parent, if you think you have a 12-year-old that could benefit from it, it probably can go up to that age, but definitely that 6 to 10 range.
Now, let's go back and chat more about the importance of early financial education, because we definitely want to strive to educate and literate the entire population here. But according to the 2022 PISA study, right, you have about 20% of students, they don't have basic proficiency in financial literacy. And a Greenlight study went even further and reported that nearly three-quarters of teenagers, right? These kids are about to go into college. They don't feel confident in their personal finance knowledge. So how do you think early financial education can impact the child's future, and how specifically, let's go back, how can my savings jar really pave that way?
Yeah, my hope is to get this in schools. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, to get started as soon as we can with teaching this. I'm shocked. I always ask, like, how and I don't know what your ages are, but like when I graduated back in
Mhm.
83 or so, you had to pass a test for the Constitution before you could graduate.
Mhm.
I don't understand how we let kids graduate from high school, going into college when they're 18, just like really on their own for the first time. They're getting credit cards, and no one has had a conversation about how to manage your finance. How do we get them? How do they get out of school without that? So I would love to see this implemented across the country. That's a requirement before you graduate from high school. So from my standpoint, with what I can contribute is writing the book, which I've done on a subject that's needed, and now trying to get it into the schools, into the hands of as many kids as possible, as early as possible.
I totally agree. I'm wondering, were there any particular stories or moments from your career or even your life that directly inspired scenes or lessons in the book?
Well, so I worked in a area called Hinsdale here in Illinois, and it's a very affluent community. And I would see like little kids, mostly girls, having lemonade stands. So within the book, one of the chapters is a lemonade stand, teaching the kid entrepreneurship. That was a way to make money, that that's theirs, and to add that to the savings jar. Also, in my career, one of the topics that reoccurred often with parents is, at what age should they start talking to the kids about money? Whether it's uh, a child who would stand to inherit a pretty nice sum of money over time, through trust, or because the parents saved for college through a 529 plan. At what age should they start having that conversation? So that was kind of the key driver for me. My advice to them was always, your child. As a parent, not every child is the same. You may have one child that's very spendthrift. You may have one child that you're like, I don't really think they should have that kind of money at age 18. But I think there's a way, if you start familiarizing them with these terms, and already have it, that they know about savings. They may not know the amounts that they may have, but if they know about saving, they know that they don't spend every dime that they get. If you start that early, then as they get older, at that teenage level, it's already in them. So it doesn't matter. I'll say it shouldn't matter as much the amount that they would be getting. But those are the things, the lemonade stand, seeing the little girls do that, and the conversation around, when is the right time to talk to my kids about money?
Right. And I love that this book seems to be so engaging, introducing this book to them in an engaging way and having examples that they could relate to, like the lemonade stand, is so important because, to your point, young kids are not typically going to choose a book about financial literacy over a book of fairy tales.
Right.
So it's definitely important to keep them engaged and to allow the education system, if you're, albeit getting it in schools or in local libraries or charity drives, that it's the parents that have to take control, and the educators. Now, looking into the future, do you plan to write more children's books, perhaps focusing on other aspects of financial literacy?
Yeah, I do. So the first step is savings, right? So even in the book, at the last chapter, the main character, her name is Shaya. After she's reached her goal, she wants to buy a cell phone. I thought that was apropos because most kids around that 10 age want a cell phone. Her mom's like, well, you can't just leave the money in the savings jar. Let's put it in the bank. So then she introduces banking to her. Well, the next step is investing. So my goal is to next year write a book for mostly preteens, teens, about investing. You go to McDonald's, why not own part of McDonald's? You wear Nikes, why not own part of Nikes? You wear an Apple Watch, you use an Apple phone, why not own part of that? And that's the next book, is to get kids to think about, and the parents, and that will be the challenge writing a book, because it has to be geared to the parent and the child, because you can't open up an investment account without the parent. So that would be the next step, just like it is for anyone. Okay, I've saved money, I have excess money. Now what do I do with it? Well, I invest it so that it can grow.
I love what you're saying.
I
Thank
do
you.
too. And I got chills on that one when you talked about that because I'd love to know too. And that's a book I could fit right into my kid's life.
I know.
I,
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm
I'm
like,
like,
wait a minute.
wow, I want to own a piece of Nike and McDonald's. I know we're almost out of time, but I want to know if you gotten any great feedback yet. What are people saying about your book?
Yeah, so I've gotten really good feedback, mostly from parents because that's who's buying the book. And then I'm like always like, well, how did your child think about it? And they're always like, oh, they love it. There's a group called Lotus Chicago, some young guys that started this camping group for kids, and it's like roughly 15 or so kids. So he sent me a picture yesterday of all the kids with the book and reading it. So it's gotten really, really good feedback. And my fear of not having kids and being able to communicate in a tone that kids would appreciate seems like, I got it right. So that's good. But it's been really good feedback.
Well, you're a mama to everyone now, so you're exactly where you're supposed to be with or without kids.
Well, I say that, but I have like plenty of nieces and nephews and cousins that everybody always like, yeah, you don't have your own children, but you've been a mom like 4 years for everybody else in the family.
Wow. Thank you for leading the charge on that good conversation then.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We are officially out of time, my dear. You are so inspirational, a trailblazer in your field. I love what you're doing. Definitely going to pick up this book for both my daughter and myself and make it a point to read it to her so she can be on that path you're talking about of success.
Well, I appreciate both of you and thank you so much for your time.
Same. Thank you.
That was our Discover Your Potential segment brought to you by Keep the Past, and that was the incredible financial expert and author, Ylanda Wilhite. Definitely be sure to pick up a copy of her book, My Savings Jar, for your kids today on Amazon. Learn more on the gram at My Savings Jar. And of course, you can see more of Anna at discoveryourpotentialshow.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sands. In our Hydration with Heart Express segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, today we're featuring the Renaissance man himself and the Doctor of Happiness, Jeffrey Gurian. He's a doctor, lecturer, and motivational speaker, but also a comedy writer, a performer, a director, an author, a producer, and even a radio personality. Not always in that order, of course. He's going to join me today to chat all about his upcoming event, Healing Your Heart with Humor, at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies in Rhinebeck, New York, September 20th through the 22nd. That's next weekend. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you so much, Zen. It's amazing to be on with you. As I always tell you, you're a beacon of happiness. You're the perfect person to discuss this with because you radiate positive energy.
Oh, you are so sweet, my dear friend. Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming on again. So let's break down this event for our viewers and listeners so they can know what to expect. So you're a well-known expert and speaker on happiness and mindset and changing negative thinking into positive thinking. And this event is coming up September 20th to the 22nd. And it's based on the success of your best-selling Happiness series. Can you tell us more about what attendees can expect from this workshop called Healing Your Heart with Humor? How fitting, and the inspiration behind the focus of the workshop.
Thank you so much, Zen. Healing your heart does not refer to heart disease. It refers to what I call heart wounds, the pains from childhood that we start collecting from the time we're little kids. Every time someone hurts your feelings or breaks a promise to you or hurts you in some way, breaks up with you in a relationship, lies to you, it stays lodged inside of us in our heart chakra. We're all more sensitive than we even understand that we are. And we carry those things with us, and they affect our self-esteem and our self-confidence, and they lead to a lack of happiness because they affect our decisions. And if your thoughts are not correct, your decisions are not going to work out for you, which is why so many people have the same bad job over and over again, the same bad relationship. And after the last 4 years that we've all been through, we're under so much stress that people are engaging in negative thinking. And so my goal is always to put out positive energy to the universe. And I'm honored to do this weekend at Omega, where Deepak Chopra speaks, the late Wayne Dyer spoke, Marianne Williamson, all leaders in consciousness. And they're giving me a workshop called Healing Your Heart Through Humor to teach people how to think differently, to let go of the negative thinking and change it into positive thinking, which has helped me in my own life so much. And I really appreciate you letting me talk about that.
Oh, Jeffrey, we are going to send so many people your way. Listeners, please head directly to their website to register for this amazing event. It's eomega.org/workshops/heal your heart humor. But you can just definitely head to their website at eomega.org, and all the information is going to populate. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining me. You are incredible, and this sounds like a phenomenal workshop.
Zen, you're the best. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Guys, definitely head to eomega.org, register for Healing Your Heart with Humor with the Doctor of Happiness himself, Jeffrey Gurian, at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies in Rhinebeck, right here in New York State, happening next weekend, September 20th through the 22nd. You don't want to miss it. And of course, check him out online at jeffreygurian.com and on the gram at Jeffrey Gurian to stay up to date with all of his happiness latest ventures. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Are you looking to build a new home? Think about building a barn-dominium. There's just something about getting away from it all. Country living, fresh air, and outdoor entertainment. Watch luxury barn-dominium tours on Your Home TV and let Stacy Lynn, the barn-dominium lady, take you on a journey through her barn-dominium designs.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, and of course on our YouTube channel Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. All episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland Worldwide streaming platform. It's free programming to you. You could head directly to our channel, in fact, at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.